friends, and welcome to the Forever and Always podcast. My name is Mercy.
And I'm Cameron.
And we're the Rolettes from East Tennessee. This is our first podcast, and we just wanted to reach out and tell you a little bit about ourselves and so you can get to know us. You can definitely leave comments down below if there's anything you would like to talk to us about, any questions you may have. We will hopefully be able to get to all of those in future podcasts or even be able to personal message you. But bear with us as we are learning this whole thing out. Cameron's going to tell you a little bit about what we're going to be about and what we're going to talk about over the next few podcasts.
Yep, that's right. We're going to kind of focus on life experiences and what that means to us and how that can help you if it helps you at all. We're going to talk about interracial relationships and marriage and all the problems that come with that. And like Mercy said, this is our first time ever doing this, so there are probably going to be hiccups with it and lots of uhs and ums, but we're just going to keep it all natural and all real. And we love questions, so if you guys have questions for us or anything you'd like us to talk about that you think we could help with, just let us know.
Yeah, so a little bit about us. We actually met through a mutual friend. I had never dated before, and Cameron Facebook stalked me a little bit to get me to go out with him through this mutual friend. And so that was a bit about how we met through this technology savvy world in the 21st century. Cameron asked me to meet him about 2 minutes from his house, which I didn't know at the time, at a restaurant for breakfast, which I don't even like, but I agreed to for some reason. And I drove around the building about 3 times before I actually went in to meet him, just because I had never been on a date before and I was super nervous. So a little bit about those first impressions of what we thought about each other and what that kind of looked like for us. Not going to say this for everybody or the kind of feelings you should have. Everybody has their own story, but for us, for me, I thought Cameron was very poised and he was down to earth. He knew what he was talking about. He seemed very passionate about what he was talking about. And we just kind of told our life stories. That first date was like a 2.5-hour date. And we both actually only left because we both had meetings to go to for work. And so it was quite a long date, but a very special one in my book.
And I think we should also add, she didn't tell you in the beginning of this, that she actually wasn't going to go out with me, but one of her friends that she worked with told her to, hey, why not? He seems like a nice guy. And so we want to thank that friend for doing that. But yeah, my first impressions of Mercy was that, I'm not going to lie, on our first date, before we even went on our date, I had been through relationships in the past and really was kind of focusing on my work, and then decided why not put myself out there again. And I told God before our first date, I was like, God, you know what I've been through. If this is the woman that you want me to be with and that you want to see a future with me, give me a sign on this first date. Now that honestly does not happen for everyone, and more than likely probably will not happen. But on our first date, like I said, I did pick a place that was 2 minutes away, and that was my fault, but it was a good place anyway. My first impressions of Mercy is that she told me she was very nervous, and I could not tell because, like she said, we talked for like 2.5 hours and pretty much told our life stories, good and bad, out on that first date. And I've never done that on the first date, so that was a very clear sign from God for me about her. And really after that, we kind of just kept talking. Didn't even really tell anybody about her until 3 or 4 weeks in, because I just wanted to make sure that this is good and tell them what we did on our the first time I met your parents or your mom.
Yeah, so about 2 weeks in, like I said, I'd never been on a date before, and so I never had a boyfriend before, no kind of relationship like that. And so my parents, my mom, and my sister and my nephew were coming in to go to Dollywood, because that's one of our favorite things to do here in East Tennessee. And so we are going to Dollywood for the day, and I told them, I said, I knew I wasn't going to see them for a while. They live about 2 or 3 hours away, and so I wasn't going to be able to see them probably until we started dating in October. I wasn't going to be able to see them until probably Christmas, just the way schedules were working and things like that. And so, but I really wanted them to meet Cameron because their opinion means a lot to me. It's always just been the 3 of us, and so it was very good to have them have their opinion on Cameron. And so literally probably about our second week of actually going out, I said, hey Cameron, why don't you meet us for lunch before we go to Dollywood? Which is very early in the relationship to meet somebody's parents, and so kudos to Cameron for feeling up to it. But
I was not up to it, but I had to. So.
But it was very important to me that he met them and got their seal of approval. And so at that time, like I said, we had just started dating. It was a very quick lunch, but one that I think made a big impression on me from him, and a big impression on my mom and my sister. And even now my nephew, he loves Cameron. When he calls, he says, "Where's Cameron?" Before he ever asked for Aunt Mercy, and he's known me way longer. So I think Cameron just made a big impression on our whole family. And so that was something very exciting. As we started progressing in our relationship, we started definitely like seeing him more in family functions and doing family things, which I think just kind of, for me, grew my affection for him, and knew that I was going to marry him soon enough, because family is a huge deal to me. And so seeing him with my family, and we have a lot of babies in my family, a lot of kids, and seeing him interact with them is a big thing for me. So, and that was really cool. Cameron then chose what we were going to do for our second and third dates, because I had never done that. I didn't really care. I thought dates just meant movie and dinner, but that was not always the case.
Yeah, so we went, our second date actually was movies and dinner. We still remember the movie, The Mountain Between Us. It was a very weird movie, but it was a good time. We left that date really happy where we were, and it really kind of progressed our relationship. But then we went to Main Event for our third date. I know you guys want to hear about all of our dates, but we went to Main Event, and she played me in bowling and destroyed me, because I'm not very good at bowling whatsoever. Yeah, that's really where our relationship kind of took off. That's when we really made things official, Facebook official, as they say. But a couple of questions that we got from Mercy's best friends. One question that she really wanted us to talk about was about which one knew they loved each other first, and what made them love that person first, I guess. So I'll just start with me. For me, we went on a trip to Cades Cove. Now, for mind you, I've never been much of a nature person really in my life, because I grew up in Memphis. Everything's flat, so I mean, I understand that the mountains are beautiful, but Mercy was very big about nature and mountains, and she wanted to go to Cades Cove. So I was like, okay, cool. So we went through there, we drove through there, and it was kind of like another reminiscent of our first date, where we literally just talked the entire way up there, the entire way through the mountains, and I was just sitting there thinking, like, gosh, I want to marry this woman one day, and I'm not going to tell her that right now, because that's really weird. And 3 weeks, or I think we're on like a month in, it's like, that's really weird to just tell her that. But I knew in my heart that I wanted to marry her, and that's when I began loving her. But
yeah, it took me a little bit longer, and I didn't actually know till Christmas. He had asked me to go to Christmas to meet his family. Like he said, he lives about 6 hours away from us, and so he doesn't go home very often. And so there was not really another time for me to go visit his parents or anything like that. So I actually went at Christmas, which was, kind of thrown into the fire, with all of his family, aunts, uncles, grandparents, cousins, people who just stopped by. That is just the way it is. And his mom, I think, was kind of leery. Mind you, like, when Cameron's with my family, he is the only black person, and when I'm with his family, I am the only white person. And so it wasn't necessarily that I felt out of water, but I could, like, you definitely notice, and I think people notice, and so it seemed to be that they treated me just a little differently, not intentionally at all, but you do notice that, like, it's just part of human nature. And so I could see his mom being a little leery. And when Cameron's family says, like, they're going to eat lunch at 2, they really need 5. I've learned that is just a cultural thing for a lot of African American families. And so that is just how they are. And I did not eat lunch before. We had gotten up really early to drive there.
I did warn her. Let me say.
He even stopped and asked me if I wanted something. I said, "Oh no, we're gonna eat in 2 hours. It'll be fine." That was the wrong decision. I now take snacks. And so, but I was about to fall asleep on Cameron, and I could hear his mom, as my eyes were like dozing off, going, "Cameron, like, what is she doing? What is she doing?" And I was like, "Oh, okay." And Cameron was like, "Mom, it's fine. Like, she's good. She's exhausted. I did warn her, but, you know, she didn't take my advice." And his mom just kind of laughed, and that's something that we laugh about now. But that was when I kind of fell in love with him, because he really stood up for me and really made me feel like everything was going to be fine. It was all going to be good. I love his family. I think his family loves me. The first time our parents met were at the wedding, at our wedding in September, and I think that became a really big bonding time, because our families, like I said, like you do notice the color. Like, people say, "Oh, I never noticed color." That's just, in interracial relationships, you do. And in some ways you have to. You have to notice that there is going to be a cultural difference, and there is going to be a difference in how they view the world, and how they view history, and how they view words and what other people say, because words have consequences and meanings behind them. Like, again, are not always intentional, because as a white person, I've never had to think about that. I've had the privilege to not have to think about that, but that's not always the case. And so that time really gave us a great viewpoint of maybe there were some things we needed to talk about in our relationship, and about what it means to be an interracial couple. And so, and we'll talk a little bit more about things that happen that you don't really think about and you don't think that will happen as we go through more podcasts. But it is something you do have to think about. And so that Christmas means a whole lot to me, about what our relationship was going to look like from there on. And
to kind of end this first podcast about us, I will say that one thing that's very important to me and Mercy is our families. And I think that's something that's made us very much closer and stronger, is our love for our families. There are things that, like, Mercy does with her family that I've never done before, but I've taken those things and introduced it to my family. Like, we're going to the Smoky Mountains. I'm bringing my family to the Smoky Mountains. Now, mind you, if I'm not a nature person, you know for sure that my family is not a nature people. But I convinced them to go on this trip with us, and we're going to do that later. So Mercy's loving the soul food, you know.
Yeah.
It's becoming part of her life.
Yeah, because like I said, they eat late, but it's totally worth it once that food gets there. Cameron favors the homemade mac and cheese, but I think it rivals up against their homemade fried catfish. It is rivalry time come to Christmas. And that's just something, like, Christmas for us was always lasagna and salad. And so to go to eat catfish or chicken, or it's something different every single year. And so to have a difference every year, and it's not a traditional, like, Christmas meal or holiday meal, even the same at Thanksgiving for them, that's new to me, but I kind of love it, because you never know what you're going to have, and you never know who's going to be there, or who's going to show up, or if some random person's going to come in and sing. Like, that just happens. And my family it happened. And my family is very much about tradition, so it's really cool to be able to see that and have that to hopefully share one day.
Yeah, I think this is going to end our first little beginning
so
episode.
If you have any questions, definitely leave them in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you, and if there's anything you want us to talk about or expand on, as we probably will. As you can tell, we're a little bit of talkers, especially me, but if there's anything you want us to talk about specifically, leave them down below, or if you want to reach out to us, you'll see that you can reach out to us at our different handles, so social media handles. So we'll see you soon. Bye.
Peace.